Hey everyone, it's Destiny and this is Destiny Reacts. Welcome or welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be watching Chrissy and Ming's IG Live. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes, or Onyx looks just like Rod. They will not let that situation live. Everybody, I see somebody on here say it, and I meant to say something about it. You guys, I don't know why they look alike. I'll just say it.
Right,
Don't say maybe he my baby daddy. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he on the birth certificate for real, for real. I don't even know. Plot twist.
Oh well, you don't know, so.
There was this one time where I thought I could have. No, I'm just playing. To say that, what to say? No, I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna put that on.
That's gonna be that. They
will cut it right there and be like, she said it. You heard it from her mouth. That is his son. That is his dad. Yeah, they're not biologically related, but God is the only dad that he does know. So, but you know, he doesn't call him daddy. He doesn't call him dada. He calls him Rod or Roddy. And that's it. I had to say that because everybody been saying this shit for the longest, and I've been wanting to be like, look, y'all, listen.
Right. No. Like what? Like I know. I
wish he was my baby father though. I wish he was his dad. Because his real dad sucks.
Listen. Sometimes I be like that. Like fuck. Like y'all keep saying it.
Why can't you? Okay. I wish that he was his dad.
Okay.
Guys.
I don't think I'm seeing the comments anymore. I think it's doing.
Oh, you're not? I hate that. You look like those that raise you regardless of biology. See, I feel like that too. Like you be around somebody so much you start to look alike. Somebody said y'all all mixed up. Somebody said, would you allow Rod to adopt the boys if your ex never comes back in the picture? Yeah, I would love that. I would love if he would do that. Like, and honestly, we've talked about that, but I just know that motherfucker's out there somewhere just waiting on, somebody to try to like do something like that. So he can be like, no.
That's a fun snatcher.
Like, you know the type of people that are like, no, I'm the actual father, I'm the biological father.
Nobody but like, why are you holding on to that title?
Right, nobody can have my role, but then where are you though?
Right. Like if you're not gonna be the actual father, then you need to just let somebody
else who's here ready to, who's willing to step up. But
my dad did that. My stepdad, he
adopted
me.
See,
yeah,
that's
commendable. His last name.
Yeah, see, that's commendable. I love that. I was watching on Facebook like a whole bunch of like a compilation of like people asking them to adopt them. Like some of them were adults or teenagers. You asked them?
Yeah.
That's so emotional.
I know.
It's a tearjerker for me.
It was because like my mom had my younger sister. Like I said, I was 6 up until I had another sibling, and so she had her when I was 6. And then so when I was like 7 or 8, I'm like, I was like 7. I'm asking questions because I'm in school now, and I'm asking like, what's your last name? And my mom's like, because she's trying to teach me, my first and last name and all that shit or whatever. So I'm like, what's your last name? And she's like, Belton, and my last name was Stokes. So I'm like, why is your last name Belton and my last name is Stokes? And she's like, because I got married and dad's name. Well, because at that time I don't remember what exactly I called him, but I didn't call him dad. I guess I called him by his name because I didn't call him dad. So she was like, his name is this and I married him, so my name is this, and Rhea's name is this because that's her dad. So she tried to kind of like explain it to me, and I'm like, so I'm the only one with the last name Stokes is what you're telling me. Like, that's what you're telling me, the whole overall. Like, I'm different is what you're saying. So she's like, well, yeah, we're all of us, we're Stokes. I mean, we're Belton and you're Stokes. And I'm like, no. So I went to school, I changed my name, I started writing, I asked her how to spell it, so I started writing it. Like, it's next to my last name. So then I was like, Marcia Belton. And they're like, that's not your last name. Like, you can't write that. So then my mom's like, you can't do that. Like, the teacher called her. She's like, you can't do that. And then so she's like, I mean, if you want him to change your name, you can ask him. And I'm like, okay. So then I just asked him, like, can you be my dad? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, and then so from there.
That's so cute.
Right. So from there, I just started calling him dad. And then he went and did the paperwork.
Oh, that is such a cute, beautiful story.
Yes. I'm like, this ain't right.
This ain't right.
This is not what it's supposed to be. It's not giving what it's supposed to give.
Right. She's like, I'm going to need to get my paperwork straight.
Okay, because I'm not, my dad's not even here. Like, where's my dad? I don't see him.
I don't even know who this name belongs to. I want yours.
Like, what the fuck? I'm here. He's taking care of me. Like, that's my dad.
Right? See, that is so beautiful.
That's my dad.
Yeah, I love that.
Yes.
Yes.
But I definitely commend, like, men who do that. It's just amazing to me. Like, I get emotional now because I have children. So it's like, I understand a little bit different
Like the
now.
weight. Yeah.
Yeah. Like when I had her, like a whole lot had happened. When I graduated, my mom was like, because I was with Uriah, so I ended up moving out. And like when I was 17, I moved out and I ended up moving and living with Uriah. And she didn't like that. So she was like, I'm not coming to your graduation. Like a whole bunch of shit, right? So I ended up inviting my actual biological dad, who I hadn't known. I didn't know him. He gave up his rights when I was 8. And so I hadn't seen him since I was 8 and I was 18. So like 10 years. And so I still invited him. I found him through his twin sister. She had she went to like I guess college or whatever. And so when I googled her name, because I googled his name, nothing came up. When I googled her name, her college stuff came up. And so I was able to like email her professor, and then he got me in contact with her.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Right. It was crazy. I was 17 and I'm like searching and googling.
You
shit.
like, yay,
Listen,
the FBI.
Okay, so I was like, I want to know, like, I just want to know because I know what my mom's saying, but I want to know, you know what I'm saying, what this side is like. So I ended up reaching out to her and them, and she got me in contact with him, and I was like, you know, I invited them to my graduation because, like I said, I had moved out and all that shit, whatever. So they had came to my graduation, and it was like, my mom caused a whole motherfucking scene. My graduation, she flipped out. I was crying and screaming and hollering because she was screaming and flipping out because he was there, but she knew he was going because I told her before. You know what I'm saying? Before that happened, I told her he was coming. And she told me if he goes, I'm not going. And so she still came. And so like, you came and it caused a scene for no motherfucking reason. So she flips out. Like, she's like, he don't fucking deserve to be. Which I get it now because I'm a mom. You know, like at that age, I'm like, well, my mom just disowned me damn near. So I'm going to invite the next.
But you weren't sure if she was going to be there. You wanted somebody.
So I'm going to invite somebody that, and I felt like he owed me because you ain't been here for 10 years. So, like, you going to come to this motherfucking graduation. You know what I'm saying? We'll have somebody in the stands. So, all that happened. She caused a scene at my graduation. And motherfuckers was looking, all types of shit. I'm crying and all that shit. And Uriah's there. Like, it was so much shit. So then he ended up just taking me out because I was just like, what the fuck? Like, they screamed. Like, well, my dad, he's low-key scared of my mom, so he just, like, was like, look at, he was just like,
let me get out of here.
She's screaming, acting a fool, and he just like, what the fuck? So then his sister, though, like I said, that he has a twin sister. So his sister was, I think she said something to my mom, because me and my mom actually just talked about this, like, when I dropped the kids off. And she was like, I didn't like how she said something to me, or whatever the fuck she said. And I'm like, well, like, that had nothing to do with me. Like, I just invited them because of the fact that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have no support. So I'm like, I'm going to invite them to come, and I feel like he should, like, feel like he need to be there. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, but I feel like now that I'm older and I have children from when I was 18 when I graduated, it's like, it's different. I just have a different relationship. Like, I feel like low-key, I just don't even want to be bothered because I'm like, you didn't want to be there for me. So I feel like the men don't really understand, like, how they affect the kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, once you get older, they're not going to want to be bothered with him. Like, the fuck? Like, I wouldn't be bothered with you after all this shit. Like, you weren't there. You didn't take care of me. You didn't give a fuck about me. You didn't call me on my birthday. You didn't send me no presents. You didn't do nothing. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I lived that life. So I know how it feels to be an older person and feel like that towards your, you know what I'm saying, your parent or whatever. And now we don't have really, like, he'll write me and shit, like, on, like, Mother's Day and stuff like that or whatever the fuck. But, like, I don't have a relationship for real because I'm like,
you know, never there. I don't really know you. You don't really know me. Like, you were never really there. See, that's how I feel like my kids are going to feel towards their father, too. Like,
they're going to have resentment.
You know, there's going to be that resentment there. Like, I never knew you. You were never there for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you weren't you. You're not my dad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I could never imagine somebody being like, one of my kids being like, you're not my mom. Like, I don't Like, that would kill me. That would kill me. That would kill me. Like, I would never be able to listen to that or hear one of my kids say that.
Be like, you weren't there. What?
Right? Right? So I can only imagine how that would feel for a guy, but it's like, if you don't make the effort, there's just no excuse. There's really just no excuse. Like, if you have a child with somebody who you're not with, there's no excuse to not be in that child's life. There's just no excuse for that. I don't stand for that.
Right, and then when you're like with my siblings, like, he has 3 other kids, so I'm the oldest on both sides. So on his side, he has, I think she's 27 or 26, or maybe even 25, I don't know, but the next one is like somewhere around there.
You don't know him either.
No, well, so I talked to them, and I've seen them before. I haven't seen them maybe like 5 years. So I've seen them or whatever, but they're actually coming to visit me at the end of July. So that's why I even brought this up, because I just had a conversation with my mom about it, because I was like, you know, I I don't know how to be normal with people, like with them, because I'd be like, you know, they'd be like dad, da, 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 whatever the fuck. But I don't call him dad. So I don't, you know, I call him by his first name. So I'm like, shit, I don't know how to, like, and then I'm the oldest. So it's like, and I'm supposed to be the one where it's like, I feel like they probably like, oh, we don't even really know our older sister. You know what I'm saying? Like for them, it's not their fault. Yeah. Like it's just hard for me to be like I try to like reach out and like I said, like them coming and visiting me, like they're coming to my house. So I try to be open and like, you know, come, like they watch me on YouTube and shit. So I'd be like, you know, come and, you know, whatever fuck. But it's like, I feel like they probably feel like I watch this girl on YouTube. We don't, like, that's my sister.
Like, yeah, like, that's my sister, but I don't really fuck with her, though. I don't really know.
Right, like.
It's just weird, yeah.
It's hard.
How you
It's
can be
like, men don't understand that they really fuck up a lot of shit. Like, that's fucked up because I was raised with my other 3 sisters, and that's from my mom's side, but I feel like closer to them because of the fact that that's my mom and I was actually raised with them. So we're closer, but I don't like that. Like, it's not a preference for me to be closer to my mom's side siblings than my father's side siblings. It's just like, it's, you know, that's where you were raised because you normally are raised with your mother. But it's hard for me because I'm like, it's not their fault, and I feel bad about it, especially being the older sibling. Like, if I was the baby, I would probably be like, well, fuck it, they gonna talk to me. They need to come to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But being the older sibling, I'd be like, I feel some type of way, and it's his shit. Like, it's his fault that this is triggering the way that it is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it sucks, and they don't even see that shit that they start if they have other kids.
Right. That's true. That's true. Yeah. Somebody said just love him. Like I think it's just for my kids. Like just teach them to love him, and then he'll have to answer when they get older. And that's my thing. Like I don't ever talk bad about my exes to my kids ever. Like I don't let them.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick.
Okay. I'll never let them hear me talk bad about him at all. In the least because, and I'll never talk bad about them, or bad about him in front of them, or you know, to them, because I don't want them to grow up thinking that that's what they should view of him. My mother never did that for me, and my dad wasn't really around like that when I was growing up, and she never talked bad or down on my father. And then she allowed me to she actually helped facilitate a relationship between me and my father when I was a teenager, because I didn't really know him much. Like I saw him sporadically throughout my childhood, and then when I was a teenager, she like kind of like bridged the gap for me to get to know him. And then once I got to know him for myself, I realized the type of person that he really was. And in that moment, that's when I was like, deuces, right? But before then, you know, as I was a kid growing up, like I just was like, you know, I had a stepfather, and so like I would tell people like I got 2 dads, like, you know, I have 2 dads, you know, and I thought I was a shit because I had 2 dads, you know what I'm saying? So even though my other dad wasn't there, you know, like my biological father wasn't really there like that. My stepfather, God rest his soul, he passed. You know, I was like, I got 2 dads, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, and then when I got older, and I started to have a relationship with my biological father, and then I started to see like the way that he was. Then, you know, I started to learn for myself, like, okay, this is not really. I don't really want to do this on a regular basis. But I do love you because you're my father.
Right.
You give me life, but from afar, from over there. I'm over here, you're over there, and that's how love is. But and so I carry that with my children as well. Like none of them I will talk bad about them. Even when they're like, I've caught like my older kids, they be like, man, like, you know. They'll make a slick remark and be like, man, my dad sucks because blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, nah, don't talk about your dad like that. Because I always have respect for him because he loves you no matter what. And if you see that he's not around right now, if you see that things are not the way that you want them to be, it's because God needs to bring him to grow and to get himself together. And we just pray. We just got to pray for him. I try not to facilitate any negative thoughts about their father because it's not my place. Because they will have his day when they look at him in his own eyes and be like, so what's up? Where were you? What were you doing? Why weren't you there? Why weren't you here? Why didn't you do this? Why weren't you at my birthday? Why weren't you at my Christmas? Why weren't you at my recital? You know what I'm saying? So my job is to make sure they have the best quality of life that I can provide. And if they get older and have questions, they can ask them that to themselves.
Exactly. It could probably be a stupid ass answer. Like my dad was like, it's my mom's fault because he was like, it was either signing over his rights or that he would go to jail. And I'm like, now that I know, like, he told me this when I was 18. So I feel like I was very immature. I was very young, and I just was like, whatever, because I really didn't give a fuck. I didn't give a fuck about what his reason was for. I knew that he wasn't there. I knew that he wasn't there for a whole 10 years. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I knew that there was no excuse for it. But at that time, I just didn't care because I was like, one of these motherfucking parents gonna get together and gonna come and motherfucking support me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
One of these motherfuckers gonna come and do what the fuck they need to do. And one clocks out, I need to figure out where the fuck the other one is.
Right. I need to know. Okay, you have me here for myself.
Okay, I guess somebody's responsible here. So that's where I was at that moment. But then when I had Mimi, when I had kids, like I literally had a whole breakdown when I had Mimi. Like when I freshly had Mimi, she was probably about, I was home, so she was probably about like maybe a week or two. Like I bawled my eyes out because I'm like, I couldn't even imagine like being away from her or like, you know what I'm saying, somebody hurting her or doing something to her or like, you know, like making her cry or making her upset. Like that shit irritated my soul. Like I'm like, how does somebody just clock out? Like that's just crazy to me.
That shit just don't make it makes no sense at all.